close then too far.
We're not far, we're not far.
Which hardware manufacturer makes the worst hashboards?
What's up guys, I'm here in Denver, Colorado in a Compass Repair Center. Shannon, what's up my man? Tell me where we are, what do we have here?
Yeah, so this is our main service center out of Denver, almost 50,000 square foot facility. Basically, we run a spoke and hub model for all of our logistics, repair processing, cleaning, testing. So any used miners come through this building before they get deployed on sites. We had like 21 different facilities in 2 countries. So having a central hub to be able to make sure that miners can get processed, get shipped home to clients, get shipped to facilities in a working state is super important. We cater to both retail and enterprise clients. So minimum order 1, you want to go online and buy 1 miner that's hashing in the racks right now, you can do that. If you want to buy 10,000 miners and get them online, we can do that too.
Denver serves as a central hub primarily due to its strategic location. It is located at the intersection of major highways and has an international airport, which allows shipping to dozens of countries around the world. Every miner that passes through Compass Mining's hands is properly cared for.
These miners, they run in locations all over the world that are not necessarily the cleanest. They may not have good filtration. If a miner is dirty, like it got dust in it, it increases the heat, and that's what causes part failures. So the cleaner you can keep the miners, the less failures you're gonna have. So nothing gets done until they're cleaned. We set up the hoods to essentially extract as much dust as we can and keep the dust at least in one area. In order to blow dirt out the miners, you gotta get the fans out of the way. Inside this one, this is not too bad, right? There's not a whole lot of dust on the boards in there. Flipping it around, like there's a bit more on this side. So generally intake side's gonna be more dirty. If there's a lot of stuff stuck in there and it's not looking clean away through after a basic air cleaning, we'll pull out the hash boards. From there, whatever you gotta do to get the heat sinks clean and get all the dust out of them so they're ready to go and be tested.
Compass is not limited to servicing its own or its clients' miners, but they are also able to take care of other companies' machines, and their numbers are quite impressive.
I think we processed over 4,000 miners last month, whether that's clean, tests, ship, flash Braiins on the miner, get them ready for immersion, or it's actual repairs. Control boards, power supplies, fans. So once you replace the components and fix them, they tested good at the repair stations. You want to do an aging test that's going to run the miner 24 hours, right? So that you know that when it gets on a truck and ships to site, something's not going to shake loose and not work when it gets there. When it gets up to temperature, there's not going to be a failed solder joint or something like that.
For a long time, Compass only used manufacturer firmware. Last year, they also started testing custom firmware. And at the scale of Compass, this is no small thing.
Did a lot of testing. We tested everybody's firmware, every one you've heard of, and then we're gonna compare them. So we're doing, with smart PDUs measuring power draw, we get the UI information, we get the pool information, how much power is it drawing. We throw amp clamps on them to verify that the smart PDU,
important. Because really, a lot of people trust the data and the GUI. We have to remind, it's just an estimate. You have to measure at the wall.
Even measuring on the smart PDUs, there's a bit of line loss, and so we also compare that and average it to amp clamp measurement. We actually, build custom cords, so we put a clamp over there and measure the amperage going through the power cord itself. I would say it was a good case study, and from there we're able to say, hey, these firmwares do X, Y, and Z, and then be able to compare them side by side, so whether that's for us or our client, we can recommend, hey, this is the best one for this situation. At scale though, the problem with the other side with implementing third-party firmware is we deal with energy contracts. I may have to maintain a specific load. And if I got a whole bunch of people want to underclock their miners, now I'm not meeting my load requirements with the utility. Well, that's why we haven't released it to like retail clients to be able to do this.
Makes sense.
We only do it
So you're rolling out to big clients and you say, hey, this is how you're going to use it.
Specific installations that are built from scratch for it.
Will we see it for retail clients in the future? Because otherwise they will ask me.
No, that's the goal.
Good.
That's the goal.
Good.
I don't know when. This is, it's Bitcoin mining soon.
There is also a big question hanging in the air that we couldn't afford to leave out. Compass has a lot of experience with different types of miners. So how do air-cooled and liquid-cooled machines stack up against each other?
I'm not a big fan of immersion. I thought it was cool, right? Because it's like, oh, you can overclock it. And then you go down the rabbit hole and well, once you go over like 10 to 15%, you start getting, worse watts per terahash. The infrastructure cost is high and it's a mess. We had a batch of like 1,000 miners from a client. Sometimes they have to go through the cleaner like 2 or 3 times. Depending on the fluid they used, it could still drip fluid forever.
You're experts in air cooling, you know, you have all the processes set up. Like, why would you say, okay, let's try hydro?
You see the manufacturers pushing to a better cooling technology,
yes.
but a lot of the early systems didn't work. Originally, they were using evaporative cooling instead of dry coolers because it's less expensive. You know, you can do glycol loops or other loops if you're dealing in freezing areas like up in like North Dakota. Water dissipates heat better than a glycol mix. And so you have to make sure you get that right. And then the infrastructure costs finally got manageable. You don't have to worry about swapping out fans all the time, but you do have to worry about the pumps failing and you know, replacing filters within the system. You get more infrastructure maintenance. We've seen situations in which hydro facilities, the miners run flawlessly, whereas we've seen other facilities where it's breaking all the time. As long as you're in cool environments, air cool should remain the king. The only thing that'll change that is if the manufacturers kind of stop building them.
If you have to bet on the
future.
The hydro, definitely.
The hydro, at least that's kind of where I'm at. I'm normally the anti-liquid cooling person. This is the first time ever where I'm like, it's kind of going the way to hydro. Yeah.
Getting input from people who have experience with tens of thousands of machines is always beneficial. Compared to other industries, Bitcoin mining is still relatively young, but awareness is growing thanks to companies willing to share their expertise. And maybe you'll eventually become interested enough to decide to work in the field.
We're always hiring for something. Every time we expand, right, we're hiring in new sites. We have accountants and we have IT and information security and anything a normal business would have. It should be on the website, on the careers page, on our LinkedIn. It's posted there. I think we post them on the Bitcoin jobs. We try to post educational videos when we get the opportunity. We have educational blog posts. You're motivated and you want to do this, we're going to teach you how to do it.
I appreciate it, man.
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming by.
Thank you very much. And subscribe to Braiins Twitter, Telegram, and YouTube also. Ciao, guys. Cheers.
Bye, guys.
By the way, if I ask them which hardware manufacturer makes the worst hashboard, they will not answer, right?
Ask him.
Yeah?
He's the one.
Which hardware manufacturer makes the worst hashboards?
The worst dashboards? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's so nice.
Yes, of course, yeah. Yeah, we love them all. We love them all, yes.
Altcoin miners have the worst hashboards.
Oh, okay, that's a good answer.
Shells or something?
I mean, just all of them.
Just all.
All of them.